Hello, everybody. Welcome back. All right, so today's episode is going to be an Ask Me Anything, and we are talking all about email marketing. So some of the questions we are going to get into is what are the best ways to segment your email audience? What are some best practices around sending emails? What are some good numbers for open rates, click-through rates, and unsubscribes? What types of lead magnets have I found that work best? How many check-in emails should be included in a product launch, and when to know when to change the offer that's inside of your email list. So we're going to tackle all this stuff on today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Society podcast. If you are new here, I'm Alexa Cawley. I'm the founder of Forever Friday Consulting. I spent 10 years in the corporate wellness space, working for companies like Lululemon and SoulCycle, and 4 years ago decided to start my own business and bring that expert marketing advice to everybody. On this podcast, we talk about everything from pricing, partnerships, everything that's going to grow your business and allow you to have fun doing it. If you enjoy this podcast, I would highly recommend that you hop into the Friday Society membership. You can cancel anytime. It is $50 a month, and we go way deeper into all of the topics here. So I go into live calls, webinars, workbooks, all pertaining to how to implement the learnings into your business. So you can check all that stuff out in the show notes, and let's get right to the episode. All right, you guys. So let's backtrack here, right? So why are we talking about email marketing? Why is it so important? Why is it something that I like to focus on so much? Now, the first thing here is that email opt-in is an incredibly important step in your client journey, and it really does need to be prioritized. I've said this a million times. You've heard this a million times. We do not own our social media following. What this means is that if Instagram goes down tomorrow or tonight, or even if Instagram is going down right now, I have zero way to ever interact or find the almost 3,000 amazing people that I get to interact with on a day-to-day basis, right? They would literally vanish into thin air because it's your profile, and if Instagram goes down, you no longer have that profile. So to build so much of your business and put so much of an emphasis into Instagram or any other social platform can feel really scary if you don't have a plan to back it up, right? And I've seen this happen a lot to a lot of different people, a lot of friends that I've had, where all of a sudden their Instagram just goes down. And some people can recoup it, some can't. So it's just something that you do want to be prepared for, knowing that, you're building a house on borrowed land. So what I would say here is, and I also just want to say this is the same for every single acquisition channel. So if podcast streaming went down, I would have no way to ever connect with you listening to this ever again, right? So it is my hope that everybody who listens to me on a podcast or follows me on social media is also in my email world, right? Because I like to just go a little bit deeper there, share a little bit more information. But it's a really important thing for me that through my acquisition channels, people eventually end up on email, on my email platform. And that is something that I would hope for you guys as well. Because here's the thing, if your email platform goes down, you do still own that final list of subscribers. That does actually belong to you. It's in your agreement with your email provider. Like, it is something that you do own. So if you are wondering if you should even be listening to this episode, because why is email important? It's not where I find my clients. It's not where I make my sales. If that's, sort of the thing that you're thinking, it doesn't matter. It is still incredibly important. So I do hope that this episode still serves you. The second thing that I will say is whenever I bring up automations, people automatically assume that the human-to-human connection is just going to get lost, right? I know a lot of people have asked me this before. They're like, well, how do you still maintain, a connection element once you start automating everything? It's actually exactly the opposite of what you would think. And the reason for that is that when you do automate a lot of these tasks and when you start to get a lot of this information into emails, you're actually giving your client the entire foundation of your brand, your systems, and your expertise before they even meet you, so that when you guys do actually meet, you have more time for connection, not less, right? Now, I know a lot of you guys listening have been a part of my emails for a long time. So without even meeting me, you know that I'm a big proponent of organic marketing and grassroots marketing. You know that already that I'm going to be a big proponent of Flowdesk, right? That I love using it, that I love using Showit for website builders. So that once you are finally ready to hop into the membership or to join me, in a one-on-one session, you pretty much know the information that we're going to go through. It's just going to be a little bit more personalized for you. So that's how I want your clients to feel too. I want them to know everything already. What they can expect in a session with you or in a class with you, generally what your approach is going to be, how safe they're going to feel with you, what your energy is going to be like. All of this stuff can be conveyed through automations so that you're really setting your client up for like deep connection when it gets to your work. So those are just the two things that I wanted to cover because those are some big, kind of like FAQs, common touch points that people like to bring up is like, why should I even be doing email marketing? All my sales happen on social or on my website. And then the second one is going to be, can you still maintain that human connection through automations? And the answer to both of those is absolutely yes. So just wanted to touch on that. But now let's get into the first question. Now, Jen, this is your first question. And you said, what are the best ways to segment your audience via email? And this is such an important question because email segmentation really just allows you to speak to your audience in a more specific way, right? So what I would recommend here is there's a few different things that you can do. Obviously, depending on where you're at in your business, you can always go a little bit deeper or keep it a little more high level. The first thing that I would say every small business should do is to segment their email audience by revenue stream. So that could be like Jen, I will just, use your business as an example. I would probably do unlimited members, pack holders, people that have signed up for like one-time run events with you. That's all a little bit of a different revenue stream for you. And the reason why is, of course, number one is the obvious, like you're going to need to communicate with those people in a little bit of a different way. But the other side of that is that if you're ever wanting to push one type of revenue stream, like let's say your business is, memberships and packages, and you want to run a sale on memberships. Like maybe it's your goal for the month of August to get 50 more signups for your membership. You can email all the people that have ever bought one-offs or packages with you as opposed to memberships and let them know about why they should hop into a membership, right? So you can really get specific with how you're utilizing your marketing. So that is definitely something that I would do. The other things that you want to think about when you're thinking about segmenting your email audience is what information do you want to give these people afterwards? So for me, I have my segments broken up into members, like Friday Society members, clients. I have it broken down by each lead magnet and many more. But the reason for this is that all of these people require a different level of communication after they sign up. So my one-on-one clients get a specific kind of email that's like, hey, here's what to expect from our sessions together. Here's the Zoom link if you ever lose it. Here's where your meeting notes are, just a lot of information like that. Members get a different email. It leads them into the member hub, gives them just some information about like getting started in the membership, all of that, where they can reach me if they need to, all this information. People who, of course, through my lead magnets, the first email they get is obviously going to be the lead magnet delivery and then just a little bit of information about that. So you really want to think about what information people need to know after they join or after they pay you or anything like that. And that should sort of help you figure out how you're going to differentiate these segments. So the first thing that I would say is revenue streams. That's definitely a non-negotiable for all small businesses. For all you guys listening, like having people broken out by revenue stream is super important. By acquisition channel is another layer that I would probably put on that. And what I mean by that would be You can have a segment for social media opt-in. You can have a segment for your website pop-up. Maybe you would have one if you ever did run a Facebook ad, or even like podcast, right? Like I have one specifically for podcast audience listeners, people who've left podcast reviews. I get really nitty-gritty with it just because I really like seeing all that information. I like sort of understanding the different types of client journeys people have with me. So if that is fun for you, go for it. But yeah, so by acquisition channel would be a different one. By lead magnet, of course. And then if you want to get really into, understanding who your clients are, you could do by quiz result. So if you guys have ever taken my quiz, I have one set up for you guys. If you're like, hey, I just found you and I have no idea where to start. I don't know what I should be focusing on. I have a quiz, and it's just a 2-minute quiz that gives you a result of either an acquisition plan, a retention plan, or a messaging plan. I kind of ask some questions and we get to the root of like what's missing in your marketing. And then I have subsequent emails set up that will give you resources and help based on whatever your result is. So why that's really cool for me is that I can see, people who then end up becoming clients or course purchasers or anything like that. And I can see what their quiz result was. So I'm actually really able to see like, okay, cool. Sally in Kansas just bought my acquisition course bundle, and that was also her quiz result. So I can check in with her and be like, hey, Sally, how's it going? By the way, I know when you took this quiz, this was sort of your result. Like, how is your acquisition going? What are your new client numbers looking like? So I have that information from somebody who's in my email list that I can just follow up and give a little bit more guided advice, right? And that goes back to my point in the beginning of the episode, is that through these automations and through the emails, we're just getting to know our clients better. We're not, bypassing any of the connection aspect at all. You're allowing this information to give you what you need in order to build a great client relationship. So anyway, I digress. Your question was, what are the best ways to segment your audience? I would say by revenue stream, by acquisition channel, by lead magnet, and by quiz result. Those would be the top 4 that I would be looking at. All right, your second question was best practices around sending emails. This is going to be kind of a short answer, but my first tip is speak directly to one person, right? Every time I do this, I notice that the emails flow a little bit better. I feel more excited about what I have to say. I can get a little bit more clear on the information that I'm giving out. And then whenever I get into a headspace of like, okay, I'm addressing, 4,000 people on this list right now, it can feel really scary. And I'm just like, well, whatever I have to say isn't going to serve this one person or this other person. So speak directly to one person. If you can think in mind of one of your favorite clients who's maybe dealing with this issue that you're writing about, speak directly to them. So that would be my first, best practice. Second would be don't overdo it. I don't love being bombarded with, communication. I would say 2 a month is completely fine. I know a lot of people when they start, they're like, oh, I'm going to send a weekly newsletter or, a twice a week newsletter, like every 3 times a week, right? That can feel like a lot, and it makes the emails less special for your reader. So you want to have super fans. Everybody wants to have, that like core group of people that really love what you're saying. Even those people are going to get overwhelmed by 2 or 3 times a week. So you don't need to overdo it, right? Just like allow people to miss you. I know a lot of you guys in the membership know I use the dating analogy all the time, but like, just allow someone to miss you a little bit, right? Like, be consistent, but don't overdo it. So I would say, probably about every other week is completely fine. I would not ever go more than once a week. That feels like a lot. That would kind of annoy me probably, even if it's somebody I absolutely love. Like I actually have gone through that a lot, where I found somebody online, really enjoyed the information they were giving, signed up for their email list, and it did not stop. It was like every other day, and immediately it's just too much. Like that was just too much. So I would say definitely don't overdo it. And then the third best practice is the most important, in my opinion. It's the most important for all types of content, for your blogs, for your emails, for your social media. And that is be clear about your goal from this email. So when you send this email, what do you want someone to do from there? What do you want them to click on? What website do you want them to go to? How do you want them to work with you next, right? What information do you want them to know? Be clear about that. Be clear about that when you post on social. Be clear about that when you post a blog. Be clear about that information, and that will also help to inform your email strategy. So, top 3 best practices: speak directly to one person, don't overdo it, and be clear about your goal from the email. All right, third question is, what are good numbers? What's a good open rate? What's a good click-through rate? What's a good unsubscribe rate? Now, if you guys are on Flowdesk, I would highly recommend, I think a few months ago, they added in analytics. Of course, all the other platforms have this information as well. Once again, Flowdesk just makes it look really pretty and really fun. Yes, if you're on Flowdesk, Jen, I know you are, go pop into your analytics and go take a peek at all that information, right? So, all right, what are good numbers? Over 40% of an open rate is considered great. 30% of an open rate is actually considered industry standard. I don't like to do industry standard numbers around here. We like to go better than that, right? So I would say over 40% is minimum for my clients. Ever since I did move from MailChimp into Flowdesk, my open rate has been, actually, not to brag, but this is just why I love you guys. Like, I know you're actually all here and you're real human beings, and I just freaking love that. Like, you're not bots, and I know that. My open rate is over 65%, and it has been. So, and that's even after I grew my list to be in the thousands. So yes, I do love Flowdesk for open rates. I think it's just more visually appealing and people are like, I don't know, more into it. I'm not really sure if there's anything on the back end of like why, because I've heard this from other people as well, that their open rates have been better on Flowdesk. So I don't know if that has something to do with the email servers. Even if it was something that did have to do with that, I don't know if they can actually say that. So who knows? But anyway, the open rate is good. But over 40% is what you want to strive for. Click-through rate, industry standard, is over 1% is considered good. For my clients, for you guys listening, I really want you to strive for 2 to 3%. That would be for sales and like all subscriber newsletters that you really want to aim for about at least 2%. For more dedicated emails, like to your members or your clients, those you want to aim for at least 20%. Shout out to you guys, clients and members, because I just checked mine on Flowdesk and you guys are at like 40% average. So all the emails that I send to members and clients, you guys are at a 40% open rate. You are a 40% click-through rate. So you are clicking stuff and I love it. Because I send a lot of emails about like new people who are joining and hey, check out this person's business. So you guys are like clicking on each other, which makes me so happy. So thank you for doing that and definitely continue to do that because the community element is just fantastic. Anyway, okay, the last one and the least fun one is your unsubscribe rate. Industry standard is under 2% is considered good. Forever Friday standard is under 1%, okay? And I know I posted a reel the other day about the newsletter that I sent yesterday, just about like summer updates, here's what's going on. I had 11 people. When I posted that reel, I had 10 people unsubscribe. I have had 11 people total unsubscribe. Again, now that my list is in the thousands, that's actually, it was only like 6% or 0.6%. It hurt so bad. Then I looked at who these people were. I didn't even know who any of them were. So they were people like from, early 2020. I don't even know how they got on my email list. I was not tracking that information then. So it hurt a little bit less actually when I looked into it, which made me feel good. But it hurts and that's okay. And, it gets less personal as time goes on, but it's still okay to allow that information to kind of just suck. So just wanted to quickly touch on that. But Forever Friday standard is going to be under 1%. And again, all of this information on your email statistics can be found through your email provider, whatever you're using. If you are using Flowdesk, the analytics feature that they added in it's interesting. It lets you know, the best times people are opening your emails, gives you all this information that we talked about, all of that. Okay. Next question is from Charlotte. Quick shout out on Charlotte, you guys. I posted it on my stories, but I go to Charlotte's studio, and she's the yoga studio owner, and she is giving out these little starter plants for everybody's 15th class. And I just repotted mine, and I'm so excited about it. So really good milestone gift idea. As soon as I posted that on Instagram, a lot of you guys messaged me and you were like, I'm going to steal this. So Charlotte, I hope that's okay. You've inspired a lot of people. Okay, so the question was, what types of lead magnets have I found work best? So I will say this one thing. If you guys are in, or if you ever wanted to join the membership, we did a really good module on lead magnets and opt-ins. That was a while ago. I think that was probably like a year ago now at this point. But it was a really good module, and the information in there has not changed. So I go through the entire process for your marketing nurture sequence, all the different types of lead magnets, different ideas, where they should live, like in your Instagram bio, on your website, where in your podcast footer, all of this information. I have all of that in there. So definitely check that out. If you were in the membership, it's called Lead Magnets and Opt-ins. And if you also, if you wanted to join the membership, like it's a really good one to start with. Because your lead magnets and your opt-ins are typically one of the first few touch points of your client journey. So definitely something that I would focus on revisiting, just maybe listen to that one again, even just on your walk. So, okay. Your lead magnet, the question is, what types of lead magnets have I found work best? The one thing I will actually say here is people always want to know more about themselves. So if you can have something that's like an audit or a quiz, people, there's a reason why things like Aura and Whoop and all of these, personalization, like there's a lot of companies that have been built on allowing people to just learn more about themselves. So if you can do that, if you can weave that into a lead magnet somehow, you have a leg up. Like that's a pretty good start. So that's something that I would maybe consider. Like the ones that I have seen work really well are ones that people can discover a little bit more about their, the reason why they're coming to you. So, anything that can help somebody be like, okay, oh, this is my issue. Great. Now how can you help me fix it? That'll be really beneficial. A tip that I would give here is your lead magnet should be one slice of the pie that is your business. So I say this a lot, but like just envision your entire business as this full pie. Your lead magnet should be a teensy tiny little slice of the pie, right? It should show what it's like to work with you in your regular paid capacity. It should show a tiny bit of your process. It should accomplish a result, right? Like an actual tangible result. And then the other thing that I will just absolutely say is that the emails that follow should have a super clear process to work with you. And that goes back to one of these other questions that we had before the best practices question, like, okay, what's the goal? After somebody downloads this freebie, what's your goal? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to take class or take this intro offer? Like get clear about the client journey and what you want that to look like. Okay, second to last question is we have Sonia. And Sonia says, how many check-in emails should be included for a product launch? So this, of course, totally depends on the product. Whether we're talking about like a $40 product or a $4,000 product, it's going to look different. I would say, generally speaking, about 3. And I would always include FAQs. So frequently asked questions about, everything that you can imagine would be a barrier to entry, address those in an FAQ email, all of the information that they need to know. Like I am somebody that wants to know everything. I actually there's this online creator. She's a coach and I just absolutely love her. She has a course launch going on right now and I was going to opt in. It's really expensive though. And I realized that there was no information on the sales page or in the emails. There was no real information that showed me what it was actually going to look like. I don't know how many modules there are. I don't know how many hours of content. I don't even know where the content lives. I don't know if it's on a Teachable platform or YouTube. I don't know anything. And I'm not spending like multiple $1,000s without knowing any of this information. So that's something that I would also just recommend that you have in your email sequence is all the information they need to know. Show them what it's like, right? Like show them what this experience is actually going to be like, whether that is through videos or like I actually love because I use Teachable, I can show you guys literally what the module looks like if you remember, or if you're in a course. You can't click on it. You can't like actually open up the workbook, but you have a really good idea of exactly what it's going to look like when you're inside the membership. So I do really, really love that. So that's something that I would include. Like, what actually is this going to look like for them to be a part of this product? Space to ask you questions is incredibly important. So allow them to just know, like, hey, if you have questions, you can just click right here and I will answer everything for you. Or, I know a lot of people have like a consultation call if it's like a teacher training program or something like that. So have a space for people to be able to ask you questions if they need to. And then the other thing I would just make sure that you do not lose is social proof. So have an email that's pretty clear on the social proof. So those are the testimonials, the DMs, the text messages, all of that. Include that in there. So those are all of the emails that I would make sure that you are including. All right, last question was from Mandy. And Mandy, you said, do you ever change the offer that's inside of your emails? And this is a really good question. I had a really good learning with this recently. So I had put in my nurture sequence a few months ago that if you join the membership, that people who are on my email list, if they join the membership, they got $20 off of their first month. I have had over 80 people join the membership. I literally love each of you so much. Like, this is the best member. It's just the best. But anyway, this podcast episode is not about that. I've had amazing people join, and I've had a lot of people join, and I feel really grateful for that. And again, just love it. Not a single person used this offer. So it was not working. This incentive that I put in my email, it was really good information for me of like, hey, you are not making this appealing. It does not, people aren't finding it. They're not scrolling all the way to the bottom of the email. Like, this was a really big call out for me. So the other thing I did also kind of land on was like, the membership is $50 a month, and in my opinion, that is a really good deal for personalized marketing strategy, and it is also the lowest I actually ever want to go. So if you're, we talked about your minimum access point in our July pricing module. We're going to talk about it again in August, but I realize that it is my minimum access point. I don't want to discount it. And the other thing about having all of these amazing members is pretty much all of you guys, except for the one time that I did this promotion in June, pretty much everybody has joined at full price. So I also know that my product is priced appropriately. So I decided to take out that incentive. Now, Mandy, your question was, do you ever change the offer? So yeah, I did, right? To answer your question and how to apply this to your business, just look at what's working. Look at your click-through rate on that specific product or incentive. If it's really high, but people actually aren't converting, maybe take a look at that. If it's really high, if your click-through rate on that product is really high and it is working, keep it, right? Like, that's definitely working. Also look at your conversion. So if the conversion of your intro offer into a full price offer is really strong, keep it. If it's not, if people are really taking you up on your intro offer, but they're not sticking around, I would reevaluate sort of your strategy for your retention mostly. So that question is just going to be a little bit more nuanced. You have to look at your own data and really figure out what's going on, figure out what your goals are, figure out what your intro offer conversion has been. And then I would, decide to change it or not, depending on what all of that data would be. Okay, that was it. Those were all of your guys' questions. Wow, we're already at 30 minutes. Crazy. You guys know where to go. foreverfriday.co/AMA if you want to submit a question. That's that. I'll see you in the membership. I'll see you on Instagram, wherever you want to be. For all my free resources, you can check out the link below or the link in your show notes, wherever you are listening to this. And that's that. Leave a review if you find this helpful. They mean so much to me. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.